So this is Minutes with Coach, and I have the wonderful luxury today of having Richard Trevino, author, minister, father, and coach in life, man. Rich, man, it is. I mean this with all my heart. As a saved individual, I mean this, man. Thank you so much for being on. I appreciate you being on, taking the time to definitely jump on and opening up a little bit about your book and about yourself. Please engage with everybody if you can. Express a little bit about what you're doing in your book. Let's talk a little bit about your book for the first segment, if we can.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach man. I appreciate you, my brother. God bless you. Good morning. So glad to be able to be here with you today. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to come and share, part of my life and be, transparent with you and with your audience, and just pray and hope that we can be able to add some value to people's lives in the process of this. And so my name is Richard Trevino from Corpus Christi, Texas, and I am an author. I'm a speaker and author of the new book, Taming Turnover, Creating a Company Culture Where Insurance Agents Prosper. That book was targeted towards the insurance industry and managers and sales managers in the industry, brokers. However, the powerful principles that we speak about in that book and that we share are just tremendous. Of a huge help to anybody in a management, owner of a company, and really anybody in a leadership capacity. The book is only 50 pages long, and I purposely did that, Coach, so that those that don't like to really read too much, they didn't get. They'll give them you can't give them an excuse. So help them out with that.
Yeah.
That way they say, man, 50 pages, I can do 50 pages. They're seeing everybody on Facebook, saying, man, I'm gonna read 60 books, 50 books. And they're getting freaked out by it just from the jump.
Right.
The year's starting off, they're like, I think I might read 1 or 2 books this year. So I wanted to do that to be able to add some value to people's life and just really speak about this massive thing called turnover in really a lot of industries, but specifically in the insurance industry. There was I saw a number not too long ago. It was 92% failure rate. So basically, 8 out of every 100 people that enter the industry are going to fail. They don't get out of that first year, which is horrible. So I've had 11 years in the insurance industry, 9 of those years as a manager, and I always tell people, that out of those 9 years of management, half of them were good. So I'm not speaking in this book to people from a place of just constant, ups in life and constant prosperity and abundance. No, man, I've been down to the bottom, the very, very bottom of the valley. I've been to the top of the mountains. I've experienced both sides, and I have tremendous respect for people that have been on both sides of that coin as well. Because it's one thing to be always on top, and that's fine. Great to all those that are always on top, but man, I have tremendous respect for those that have been able to hit the floor, dig a little deeper, hit rock bottom, dig a little further, and then come back out of that. Because man, that is just, you weather the storm, and that's what I've been through. So I wanted to be able to share with all of my readers, that type of mindset. If I can be able to help them to gain some knowledge and some short principles that they can easily be able to go in and apply to help them with their turnover rate and help them to be able to make their life a little easier, man, if you all work.
I love that, brother. And you know what? And as a bibliophile, as a person that loves books like I do, there's an actual title is bibliophile. But I love getting engaged with quick books like that because it doesn't strain my time as much. That's one thing I definitely enjoyed about. I really enjoyed about Helen Keller. She wrote and it's funny because a lot of people don't know this, brother, but for people that do know about Helen Keller's story, she was blind and deaf, and they considered back then and dumb. Today, they're some of the most electrifying individuals that a lot of people don't really understand until you actually spend time with them. But one of the things that I expressed with somebody recently is everybody gave a lot of praise to her, but everybody forgot about, not everybody, but I'm gonna say a good half of individuals have forgotten about the teacher that showed her, that coached her, that showed her how to speak and how to use her abilities, her God-given abilities, and then she became phenomenal. And so I engage with that because you know what? It just goes to show you that everybody's got a God-given ability, but until you absolutely hone in on it, You'll just be forgotten. You'll just be forgotten. You'll just be another name, as I say. But to leave a legacy like you're doing in writing literature and getting in your speaking engagement and then mentoring so many people through the ministry is absolutely chemistry, man. That's I'm serious. That's really moving to my heart because that's where I come from. So I mean, looking back on what you said, going back on your book, I mean, what really transpired you? And these are not some of the questions that were asked earlier, but what really transpired you into wanting to write a book, brother?
One of the main reasons that I wanted to write this book, one was I got involved with a program called Jumpstart Your Business. Now it's actually called Author University with Joe Giletti and Mathematics. And they became two of my mentors during this time. I began they began to speak life into my life, man, and where they began to awaken this other side of me of being able to do more. I've been in the industry, for 11 years in insurance, and I've been in the corporate world for 11 years. So I've been doing that, and I've got my nose to the grindstone, constantly going. Working 12, 14, 16-hour days, sometimes 7 days out of the week, constantly going. And, losing sight of a lot of stuff. It's like almost like an ostrich, that whole ostrich syndrome where you got your head stuck in the ground and you're busy, but, you just never come back up to breathe and to look around and see what's happening around you.
Right.
And, by the grace of God, I was able to provide a good income for my family and a good quality of life. But the whole personal development aspect of where I was working at wasn't really something that they promoted or suggested and stuff like that. So, I would never really get into reading and studying and mentoring and all this other stuff, but being in that environment for that long, you become a certain way. You have your blinders on. You don't see certain things, and you only see certain things. And when I began to get involved with their program, I began to have this awakening, and I believe it was God sent for sure. And something began to be birthed inside of my heart that, one thing that they said was everybody has a story to tell.
Absolutely.
And whether we tell that story or not, that's up to us. It's like you said a while ago, everybody is going to go through something, but you got to do something with it. You got to, because there's people out there that need to hear the advice. They need to hear what you went through, and they need to know how you got out of it, because they're going through something at the moment, and a lot of people don't have the resources or the ability or knowledge of who to contact, how to contact them, what to do to get out of that situation. So we're able to just share the things we've been through, our testimony. It can be of a great deal of a blessing to a lot of people.
Yeah, most definitely.
Going through all that stuff at work, man, there was a lot of issues happening. I had a long journey for those 11 years, and I had some really good friends and good relationships, and a good a real good manager of mine, Robert Garcia, was always believed in me, always pushed me, always pressed me, always made me believe that I could do more and better, and always constantly was supporting my success. Like I said, half of that time was not a good time, but even through all that, he was always, you can do it, you can make it, and because of that, I was able to move through those hard times and get to the better times. But towards the latter part of my career there with that company, there was some upper management changes and just a change of mindset. And corporate America, this cutthroat, just do it this way, my way or the highway type of mentality. And I write about that in my book. They just grabbed a hold of the office, and it literally was so toxic, bro. It was so toxic. It was cancerous to our district. Everything went out the window. Everybody was flipping. They were turning everybody out. They were firing people, letting people go, threatening everybody. It was such a hostile environment. And even in the middle of all that, my team, my sales team, was just exploding still. We were one of the best sales teams. Matter of fact, for the last 4 years of my career with them, I was, 3 out of the 4 times, I was sales manager of the year. And my team, I was able to produce, various amounts of agents of the year, people that went on those conventions, the trips and stuff like that out of the states, and it was great. We had the highest paid staff. I was one of the highest paid employees in the office. It was great, but in the middle of all that transition and change, I saw so much bad stuff happening. And then when I came across that program, I said, man, got to begin to speak to this, because this is happening not just here, but it's happening in a lot of other insurance companies. They got friends all over the place, and again, with the turnover rate that high of 92%, I mean, somebody's got to speak to it, man. So I felt the urge to have to share, my experiences and what has helped me, again, to be able to help and add value to other people.
Yeah. You know what? For everybody tuning in on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope, we're speaking today with one of the greatest leaders. And I say that now, it's just listening and engaging in his conversation. But aside from that, before we got on the air, just listening to this genuine individual, you're speaking with II Trevino, author, leader in life, and mentor and coach for a lot of people, even in the ministry. Just that person that you definitely want to surround yourself around. And for people that definitely know me, that I want to surround myself around the greats. And so when I look to the greats, II Trevino is fitting right in that category. You know what I'm saying? So, Rich, I appreciate your friendship. Definitely. All right, man. So earlier in our conversation, you said 92% when you're writing your book, you said 92% of people are failing in the business area. Would you have to say, and this actually goes into one of our questions, and you opened it up, but let's go ahead and get engaged in our questions today. But what do you feel about education? Because what you just said to me opened the door, like for a lot of people that don't know, but I've been to 2 Robert Kiyosaki events and just really engaged on how financial education truly matters in becoming a great leader in life, and it wholeheartedly helps you in your self-improvement or your self-development, as we call it, your self-development or professional development lessons of life. And it's a very key idea. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Oh, fantastic. So, I mean, looking at that value, as you said, that number bracket of 92%, what would you say, how important is education, and not just any education, but like financial education today in our culture?
I think it's very important, man. And I'll be honest with you, Coach. I'm not going to, speak from a place of that I know everything, because I don't. Again, I've been in the industry for 11 years, man, in corporate America. So for me, the whole entrepreneurial lifestyle is very new. But one thing I understand is that you've got to get your money right. You've got to really get your money right. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know what's coming in, what's going out, and you got to be educated about it. And again, like you said, like with Robert
Kiyosaki,
right? That's the main thing. If you don't know, you got to get out there and get to know, get around people that do know. And and again, if you're like myself, that in areas of your life that you need to be able to learn some stuff, that's what you do. You get around people that know. So that's kind of like you said as well, Coach. I mean, for me, I like to get around people like yourself and great leaders and great men and women of business to learn from them. So that's actually the process that I'm on right now. But education-wise, I tell you this, man. I had a conversation with a very good friend of mine who actually happened to be a teacher and in the public system, and we both agreed that the education, it's not what it needs to be. It's become a system that basically revolves around, getting certain scores at school, to get more funding and things of that nature.
Yes.
The schools really are concerned for the actual learning of the students, and the reason I bring it back to the student level in the grade school is because if we don't get the foundation right, man, you got a huge learning curve once you get out to the real world. Yeah,
you're absolutely right.
And that's the problem right there, is that our foundation is weak. It's cracking, and it's not solid. So we were talking about that, and we talked about how the actual learning of the students, it's concerning. They wanted to make sure that they can teach the children, and the youth of the day just enough to pass the required tests, that they have right now. And the key word there is enough.
Yeah.
So, I look at some of the people in my life and some of the major influences and the ones that have kids and people that are doing things big on a big scale. I look at two of my mentors, Mathematics and Joe Giletti. Both of them homeschool their kids, and you look at Emily Shea, you look at Caleb Mannix, and you see the heights that they have gone to, and you see the success that they've been able to obtain at such a young age. Yeah. I mean, it's what their family, their parents, what they're teaching them and what they're educating them on. And so at such a young age, I mean, it's amazing. So educationally, I think that if we can get the foundation right, I think we'll be okay. But I think that's what the big problem is that they're holding people back.
Yeah, you know what, I second you. As I engaged in this question, you know, I brought it up to my alliance partner, my spouse, my wife, and I brought it to her attention. And she said, "Babe, it's something that you should ask a lot of the greats." And I said, "You know what? It is one of the questions that I'm going to ask, because I think it's so important that we ought to know why, you know, what it is that's truly missing in our culture today. Because we're and I heard this from, you know, Robert Kiyosaki and a couple of his coaches too. Is we're living today in a society of basically, you owe me this entitlement area. And the lack of interest and lack of financial education in the Institute of Education. Because as a former educator, I worked in the education department for 6 years of my life, and the first year I committed to just engage in it and being very observant of it. But yeah, it's absolutely missing. You're missing a lot, and I think ultimately it goes back to what Albert Einstein said. He says, when you stop learning, you start dying. And it's absolutely true that a lot of educators, and not all, but a lot of educators have stopped educating themselves and the reason being is because the the Educational Institute has made it mandatory. If you want financial aid from the government or from private parties, then you must bring this type of style to your education department.
That's right. That's exactly right. And when you have that happening, I mean, the focus is off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, period. The focus is off, and it's not about teaching. It's about being able to learn how to pass the test. Period.
Yep. And you know what? It's funny you said that, because I was just engaging in a conversation yesterday. I was at the post office and I was standing behind a gentleman at the post office, and it's just amazing. You know, when you start talking to people around the community, and they ask you what you do, and so you get engaged with it. But one of the things that he says a lot of people today they're lost. They're at loss with the education department, because they remember when education, I remember being 37 years old, graduating in 98, but I remember having like, you know, a skill set, like whether it was pottery, whether it was baking, whether it was a home ec, but you learned a skill. You know what I'm saying? And today we don't have that. There's no skill. They're not teaching any skill. So how, when they come out, will they absolutely be successful? Because when I went to college, like one of the things that I learned, the first thing I learned was the time management. But aside from that, I learned the statistics of the dropout rate and unemployment educated people in America. I was blown away.
That's wild.
Yeah. That's crazy.
When I was talking to a buddy of mine, he's actually a teacher. He's a teacher right now. And, you know, and I won't say his name because I don't want to put him out there like that, you know, amongst his peers and stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, he is one of those few, bro. He's one of those few that he loves what he does. He's passionate about what he's doing, and he cares genuinely about the children.
Love it.
And I see that's one of the things he said as well. There's no skills that they're teaching them in the school now. They're taking out all the programs. They don't even want to take out music. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah,
you know,
it is.
And the thing is that all children learn differently. Everybody learns differently.
Yes, sir.
So this cookie cutter way of doing things does not work. It's like trying to stick a square peg in a round hole. You can't do it.
Right. Well, listen.
It doesn't work.
Let's get into our next question, man, because I don't want to take up too much of your time. Let's get into this next question. So, what brings Mr. Trevino? What brings him happiness in today? What brings you happiness?
There's a lot of things, you know, that bring me joy in life. There's a lot of things that bring me joy, but I tell you this: the one thing that brings me absolute happiness is this: knowing that I'm in the will of God and completing the very, you know, one of the first commands that God gave humanity: be fruitful and multiply. Go forth, be fruitful and multiply. Again, there's a lot of stuff that makes me happy, you know, and brings joy. A family, my you know, doing well for others, helping people, outreach,
yes.
You know, serving the Lord, business, you know, growing as a person. But that is the number one thing that makes, I think, that brings me true complete happiness is knowing that I'm fulfilling that. You know, to know that I'm doing something more with what was given to me yesterday. That I'm taking my state of being, you know, from yesterday, and I'm making it better today. And I'm adding to it. I'm multiplying it. I'm making it, more than what it was. That's what makes me happy. It makes me feel complete. You know, it's almost like in the word, man. You know, the word in Matthew talks about the gentleman that owned the vineyard. You know,
Yeah.
he owned the workplace, and he had the three servants. You know, and he gave them the 5 talents, 2 talents, and 1 talent. And when he came back, you know, he asked him, you know, what did you do with what I gave you?
Yeah. He buried it.
What did you do with what I gave you? And that scripture text there is it's so powerful to me, and it's what really presses me on a daily basis is that when he went to the one with 5, he said, man, I took the 5 you gave me, I vested it, I rolled it, I flipped it, I got you another 5.
That's right.
I said, man, that's what I'm talking about. Blessed. You did exactly what I needed you to be able to do. I didn't have to even go further into it. Blessed, you know, enter into your paradise, take him as reward. And then the one with the 2 is the same thing.
Yeah.
But the one with the 1 talent, he had that 1 talent, and he said, I was scared, so I buried it. And he said, man, you slothful, lazy, you know.
Yep.
I mean, that's terrible. He was really disappointed with him, and he said, you know what? Not only am I going to take it away from you, you're not going to get the reward I have for you, but I'm going to give it to that guy that did something with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that really lays heavy on my mind, my heart, my soul, my spirit, man. As a person, that's what really gets me going, and that's what it drives me. That I want to make sure that with what I have today, that I do something with it, that I grow it, that I make it better, that I do something more, better, or different with it to expand it in some way for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that if we're just making a little bit better every single day, then that brings me happiness knowing that, Lord, if God called me tomorrow, man, or today, that I can at least be able to stand to him and he'll say, what did you do with what I gave you? And I can honestly, wholeheartedly be able to say, Lord, this is what I did so far, and I didn't hide it. I didn't cover it. I wasn't scared of it. I went to do what I could with it.
Yeah, I love that, man. And you're following the greatest commandment ever, and that's to love thy neighbor as thyself. And I appreciate that, man, because a lot of people, they forget about that being the greatest commandment of all. I mean, he said there's nothing like it except, you know, the very beginning of loving, you know, the Lord with all of thy heart, with all of thy soul, and with all of thy mind. And so having those three as the Trinity, man, you're doing it, and I appreciate that, man, so heartily. All right, so let's get into our next question, man. How do you feel about today's culture, man, and where we're at today, aside from education, but like, where do you see, I mean, having kids of your own? I have 3 kids, 16-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 9-year-old, man. How do you feel about today's culture?
Man, you're blessed, man. You're a blessed man. I tell you this, man, you know, I've been married for 11 years, then my wife for 13 years. We have 1 son. And I'll tell you, I'll be transparent and open with you here, and then I'll lead into what you just asked me about the culture. Our son, we've been battling it out in court for the last 2 years because he actually was our foster son. We've been fostering for 2 years, and we're, by the grace of God, we've got the thumbs up from the judge to finally be able to proceed with the adoption. So we're super excited about that. That was my Christmas gift, man, and my New Year's gift. And my birthday was in December, so it was a birthday gift. And my wife's anniversary, December 30th, it was an anniversary gift. It was everything. So for us, man, you know, the culture today is very different. It's very, very, very different. You know, back around I think it was in the early 60s or mid 60s or early 60s, when JFK was president, he was making his inaugural speech, and he said, you know, and everybody knows the very powerful speech he gave, but he said, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country.
That's right.
And that mindset, I think, has changed a lot. There was a time. It was a time like when there was a sense of taking care of one another, taking care of your brother, being your brother's keeper, you know, being your sister's keeper, taking care of people around you, not just worrying about just me and us 4 and no more. You know, it is about taking care of your fellow man and how can I help other people.
Yeah.
Now, as I begin to change my circles and I'm beginning to expand my circles, I'm starting to see a lot more people with that mindset. But there's still a mass amount of people today, man, that they just want to hoard up everything they got, and it's just like, you know, it's like a pit bull with a bone with a little bit of meat still on it, like, you know.
Yeah.
They don't want to share what it is that they have, and I'm not talking about just, you know, money or things of that nature stuff. I'm talking about knowledge,
yes,
connections, love. You know what I'm saying? The general stuff, that feeling, that culture is just very, very different. I think we live in a real, in a lot of cases, and I'm sure it's not everybody, but a big portion. I think we live in a very selfish and self-absorbed society. This mindset of it's all about me.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of the reasons. And today is actually for me. I heard Wednesday I would post about what can you do for somebody else Wednesdays, and I started that a few months back, challenging other people to be able to do for other people, and to think about somebody else. And part of the challenge is actually this. I always tell people, basic things you can be able to do for somebody else, and then I'll tell them, this is the challenge today. Do something for somebody in your inner circle, family, friends, close people. Do something for somebody in your outer circle,
right.
A coworker, or just somebody you generally know. And then do something for somebody that's in your outer circle, which is do something for a complete stranger. The person behind you in Starbucks, the person behind you in line at the grocery store, a homeless person that's on the street that you kind of see him every once in a while. Do something for somebody else. So that's part of the challenge that I do. But the reason I do that is to try to, and I can't change the entire world myself, but I know I know if I don't do anything, that's not going to be good.
That's right.
But if I can do that one thing and start the domino effect, it can be able to have a trickle effect and touch people's lives. So I do that, and from time to time I put things on Facebook and take some pictures or whatnot, and I was doing some stuff, and there's some times where I've gotten some people that'll message me or they'll write on my posts and stuff, and some of it's not positive, but like they say, if you don't have any haters, you ain't doing it right.
That's right.
So
for sure.
It encourages me. So I don't block them. I don't erase them. I don't delete it. I respond to it in the most honorable way that I can,
right,
to be able to shed some light on and let them understand that it's coming from a good place. And they'll say, man, you just want to pat on your back and you just want to let people see what you're doing. I said, I do want to let people see what I'm doing, because the book of Matthew says, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good work and glorify your Father which is in heaven. That's why I do it. I do it so that people can be able to be inspired and hopefully do the same thing or do more.
Yeah.
And so to the culture, that's what I'm doing. But one of the reasons I also wrote that book, man, was to be able to bring, to help change the company culture. Because it's called Taming Turnover, creating company culture where insurance agents prosper. And within that world, the culture is so messed up, it's not even funny. It's that corporate mindset of everybody's just a number. They don't care about who you are. They don't care about where you come from, who your family. If you don't care if you got 1 kid or 7 kids, it doesn't matter. Numbers. They don't care about the person.
Right.
But I'm trying to bring awareness that if you can begin to just stop looking at it that way and start looking at these people as people and find out what their why is, so you can actually get them to get to a better place and help them become successful, and change that culture within the workplace as well.
I'm glad you bring that up, because looking at the culture today, as you just brought it up to my attention, and I've known about this, but in the corporate world, you have a lot, not I would say almost 50-50. If we're flipping a coin, it's a 50-50 because there's two sides to the coin all the time. But looking at that, you would say almost half of the companies are thinking so much about that monetary gain and so much about the mindset. And then you have the other companies that are so desirable about the heart and the drive of their employees, that they value their employees so much, like Chick-fil-A. They value their employees so much that they pour into them. In-N-Out's another one. They pour into them. There's more companies out there I could mention that just pour into their employees, and I wouldn't even consider them employees, more like assets, to the company versus liabilities. But and I go back to this film that a lot of people recognize, but that movie during Christmas time, everybody remembers that movie, the Christmas, what is it called? With Chevy Chase. It's what is it called? Christmas Story? Christmas Vacation. Christmas Vacation. Everybody remembers that movie, but what a lot of people forget, that they think is so comical, is that mindset at the very end where the Chevy Chase in the movie, he didn't get his bonus. It was all about making that money. It was all about the company. They forgot about the heart. And this man gave so much in the film. He gave so much to the company and ideas that he was passed up. Like he didn't get the opportunity until in the film, until his cousin went out and kidnapped the man, and he came begging over at the house. But I mean, here's where a lot of people's mindset, here's where a lot of corporate. So I'm glad that you wrote your book, that it can inspire companies and businessmen to start thinking not so much with your mind, but also with your heart. because a lot of it's like I expressed with a lot of people. When the doctor comes in to see your mother and puts that machine on her, what's the first thing he's looking for? He's looking for the heart. He's not looking for your mind. He's not trying to see if your mindset is right. He's trying to see if your heart is right, if it's pumping, if it's beating. Because if it's not beating, then we got a problem. So, I mean, ultimately, that's what the live and thrive of our country, and what I see today is the heart stop beating. It's slow, and pretty soon it's going to die if people like you, myself, and everybody that's watching doesn't start getting involved and making change within their own lives as well as our life. It's one of the things that you brought up, you know, on your new site is Martin Luther King once said the most persistent and urgent question should always be asked, what am I doing for others?
Right.
And it's so true, man. So true.
I love that, bro. I appreciate that you said that, man. And it's so true. You know, you brought up something about the manager from a heart or from a bottom line mindset, and that's the thing is within the corporate world, especially in the insurance business, they program all of the management to believe, not to understand, but to believe that. It's just about the number. It's just the bottom line number, profit, and that's it. Period. Who cares about the person? But they've got it so backwards, and they've got so fixated and tunnel vision on that they have lost sight, like you said, about the heartbeat of business. It doesn't matter what your product or your service is. We all deal with people, and if you don't know how to deal with people, you will not reach your true potential. You can't. You can't. And as a matter of fact, on my business Facebook, I'm going to be actually doing tonight, Wednesday and Thursday, today and tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm going to be doing a talk about that, managing exactly what you just said right now, bro. So I was kind of blown away. I was like, man, I haven't even posted this yet, but managing from the heart, is it effective or destructive?
Love it. Love it.
And the thing is, the reality is that there's, you know, I've seen it firsthand. I've been part of that mindset of doing it their way, and it came to a certain point where I had to make a decision of what am I going to do going forward. I mean, I had to come to a point in my career where I said, because I started going the wrong direction. I was going, and they started wanting to, you know, write me up and threaten me, my future with the company, so on and so forth. And I had to make a decision of either if I'm going to fail, I'm going to get written up, I'm going to get fired or demoted or whatever. You know, and I'm doing it the way they're telling me to do it. Well, that's not right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm doing what you're telling me to do, and your way is not working. So, I mean, how am I at fault with that? So I figured at one point, I said, I have to do something. If I'm gonna get in trouble for this, and I'm gonna lose out, and if I get fired or whatever, I'm gonna do it on my terms, and I'm gonna do it my way.
Exactly.
So I had to make a stance of changing some things, and said, I'm gonna have to go on a limb here, change up some stuff, change up my approach, change up the way I'm doing things, and the way I'm working with my people, and how I'm motivating them, how I'm leading them, and see how it works. If it fails, hey, that's all good, man. It worked. It didn't work out. That's fine. I can own up to that. But if it works, hey, and guess what? It did work.
See? Yeah, exactly. You speak it into existence and it works. You know, I love that, man. You know, going back to what you said earlier is that mindset is, I went to an interview yesterday, and I had to engage in this because I went to this interview, and one of the questions that was asked was, what do you have any questions for me? And so I said, you know, only question I have for you is like my attire. How is it that, what is it that you ask for my attire? And the man looks at me in awe, puzzled, and just with a bewildered look, and says, most people ask about finances. They ask about, you know, when their lunch breaks or how long their lunch breaks or you know, things like that, how many hours or what time they have to come in, the scheduling. He says, but you asked about your attire. Why? I said, because I want to make sure that I represent your company in all. Like, I want to represent everything about your company. And the man says, why do you want to apply for the Ford dealership? Because I want to learn to be a salesman. I want to learn to be a car salesman. And what other car salesman do I want to work for than a Ford dealership? Because I've read about Mr. Henry Ford. I learned about Mr. Henry Ford last year. And so I want to know more about him and on this side. And so he said, this is exactly what he says. It's about the product. I said, no, not right. I said, Mr. Henry Ford designed the Ford out of quality, not the product. He wasn't thinking about the quantity. He was thinking about the quality. That's why he started in the garage. You get what I'm saying? Like, it was the quality of his environment that he started making great things happen. So, you know, it was a quick, you know, a quick reaction. You know what? Everybody is so worried about that quantity instead of the quality. And you got to definitely bring that quality to anything that you're doing in life.
Absolutely, absolutely, I agree.
Well, so let's get into our next question, brother. So what three keys or traits do you feel bring for a successful business today?
Okay, well, I think that number one, I would have to say you got to know what you're doing. Whatever you're getting involved with, whatever your business venture is, whatever you're about to dive into. I mean, business is serious. It's a serious deal. You're going to provide your food for your family. You're going to provide it for your table, man. So I think the number one thing is know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're about to get involved with, get connected with people that can help you to learn what it is that you're about to get involved with, and not only just learn what it is, but learn how to do it well. The next thing I would have to say would be love, and not just love, but be passionate about what you're doing. Be passionate about what you're doing. If it's not something that wakes you up in the morning because you're excited to go get involved with it, if it's not something that you can't wait to just get up in the morning, get your coffee with no sugar, I might add, right?
Yeah.
To get going, you cannot wait to go because it has a purpose for you. I mean, you gotta love and be passionate about what you're doing. And I think the last thing would be surround yourself with the right people.
I love that.
That is very, very, very key. People that compliment you, people that compliment your managing style, people that may have strengths in areas that you don't. People that are committed to your leadership. They believe in your vision and what you're trying to accomplish and do, and they're there to support your success as a team. So they're going to fight with you. They're going to fight for you, and they're not going to be fighting against you. And I think if you put all those three things together, it will provide a very, very good atmosphere to be able to be successful in really any business.
Yeah, I like that, man. I really do. I enjoy that. Absolutely, brother. I appreciate that. All right, man. So let's get into our next question. What is your why? What is your number? If you had to give just one why at this given time, what would be your why?
That's powerful. That's powerful. Your why. I'm gonna bring it back to actually one of the first questions you had asked me because that is actually my why. In this order: God, family, and then people that He has strategically placed in my life. And I use that very, 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 very key. Strategically, God has placed those people. There are people in our lives that God has strategically placed in our lives to see what we're going to do with them, to see what we're going to do for them, and how we're going to help them. So my why is my duty, it's my call, it's my commitment, it's the responsibility, that God has given me to be able to do more, to do better, or do different.
Okay,
to be able to do better.
So your why is your faith.
My why is accomplishing the goal, the responsibility that God gave me to, and gave all of us really, to make sure that we did something with what He gave us. That's my why. That's what gets me, because standing before Him any day, I want to be able to at least be honest with Him and tell Him, yes, Lord, the wife that you gave me, Lord, I did the best I could. I tried to be the best husband I possibly could. I can't think of trying to improve our relationship. The son that you gave me, Lord, I did the best I could. I tried to be the best father I could. I tried to provide the best I could and provide a legacy for him. The people, my friends, the family, the people that I ministered to at the church, the people that I ministered in my life, my friends in my circle. Because God will ask me one day, and He'll ask all of us, what did you do with what I gave you?
That's right.
And the people that I put strategically around you. So that is my why, is to be able to accomplish that God set before us, and that responsibility and that duty.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. All right, brother. So if you had to share one dream with one person in all of your life or throughout history, who would that one person be? It's a two-part question. Who would it be and why?
So I can share a dream with somebody and why. I tell you right now that out of all the people in the world, a lot of them I don't know. People that we read about, people that I've heard about, but I don't know them. But I tell you this: one person that had a tremendous effect in my life was my grandma. It was my dad's mom. We call her Momo. She passed on, man, and went to be with the Lord 11 and a half years ago. It was right before I got married. So she didn't get to see me get married. She didn't get to see me start my career. She didn't get to see my you know, the good moments and accomplishments. She didn't get to see me when I was down and I was able to by the grace of God, overcome those mountains in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked her because she loved me so very much. She had no problem, no problem at all voicing to anybody how much she loved me and how I was her favorite amongst all her grandkids. And I loved her, man. She was one of my best friends. Matter of fact, she was living with us at the end of her life when I was still living with my parents, like before I moved out. And her room was right next to mine, so we would spend a lot of time together talking and stuff. And she would always tell me how proud she was of me and how much she loved me and how that I was going to do great things and make a great impact, and God was going to use me to touch many people's lives. And I would want her to know, you know, and see everything that's transpired in my life so far, and that I'm doing my best to live up to the word that she spoke over my life. And I'm not done yet.
That's
but
right.
I would love to be able to share with her what has transpired.
I love it, brother. That's awesome. I'm, you know, it's a great story, and having that mentor, because that's a straight mentor of lots of wisdom, grandfather, grandmother, uncle that's willing to, anybody that of later age that's willing to just open up, you know, with whole heart and spirit of their knowledge and give it to you, man. That's awesome. I'm happy for you, brother. All right, so as we start to wrap it up, man. As we start to wrap it up, I got to ask you, what's your mission statement for 2017, and is it different than 2016?
It is the same, bro. I'm not gonna lie. It's the same as 16, but with more passion, more depth, more commitment. And that statement, my mission statement, would be really for my life. It's just kind of what I've been talking about earlier. Give more, do more, be more. Yeah. That would be my mission statement. And I would challenge, that's my challenge to everybody that's connected to me, anybody around me, anybody that got a strategic place in my life, is give more, do more, be more. The blessings in the giving, when you give to others, when you do for other people, and you bring value to other people, God rewards that. God rewards it. He blesses that. You know, and God blesses actions. So do more. Do more. Faith without works is dead, man. We know that, and the word says it. So we got to not just believe it, but we got to be able to get into it and move after it and go into action, do more than what we've been doing. And, you know, everyone has so much potential in them, and they really, really do. And if they would just dare to believe in themselves again, they'd be able to see it, you know? I mean, when we're kids, from a young age, you know, and I spoke about this on one of my videos, we have this thought, this great dreams, aspirations, and vision for our life and doing great things. But somewhere down the line, we stop thinking, we stop believing that we can be able to do it. So if we could just begin to believe we can do it, man, we can be able to see it happen. So give more, do more, be more. That's my 2017 mission statement.
Love it. I love it, brother. So as we wrap it up, man, where can people find you, brother? Where can people find you?
Okay, well, they can actually go out to my Facebook business page. It's at www.facebook.com/Richard, RICHARD, Trevino, TREVINO, and then the second. So it's going to be capital I.
Yeah, make sure everybody gets that. You can also follow him on Instagram. You can also follow him on YouTube, correct? You're on YouTube now?
I sure am. I'm on Instagram as well. It's Instagram. It's the Instagram.com and then /Richard_Trevino_2/.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. I appreciate you being on, brother. I thank you so much, sir, for just taking the time to engage with everybody on all 4 of these platforms and letting them know a little bit about your story and your principles for life. I appreciate that more than anything. It's like the biggest seminar, man. We got the greats on. So I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, okay?
I appreciate you, my brother. Thanks for the opportunity. And just want to let all the listeners know, man, my email is also at richard@richardtrevino2.com. Anybody that goes to that link, I tell you what, if they email me, get set up there or go on the Facebook page. A lot of these people have been asking me about the autograph book. Everybody wants a signed book, and I completely agree with that. So anybody that goes on there and gets set up on our registration link there, when they get their book, I'm going to be sending them out an additional free book that's going to be signed personally by me.
Woo! That's that. I love that, brother. I love that. I love the word free. I love it, man. So yeah, I'll definitely jump on there and get my order in because I definitely want to have a book. Actually, I would like to have 2 books. I love having information as everybody sees on these platforms. They see the information. I have about 100 to 200 books in my library, and as I continue to go every single year and adding more to it, I can't wait for new leaders that are putting out information, putting out new content out there to be welcomed into my library. There's nothing more I enjoy than having that because it's not, as what you said earlier, it's not what I leave them, but what I leave in them is what truly matters in life. And so for my kids, my 3 kids, I think about what I leave in them more than what I leave them. And I will leave all the books for them because I can't take it home, but I definitely leave that for them, man. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much. Regards to the family and safe travels about your day.
Likewise, love you, bro. God bless.
God bless. So there you have it. Yeah, Rich Trevino, the leader in America and author, father and husband. So I appreciate him being on. It was a great opportunity. And so I hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, I look forward to next week. Next week, we're looking forward to having one of the former NFL players, a good friend of mine, David Macklin, along with Matt Hatch on, and also young author, young entrepreneur, okay? And just a motivational speaker in himself, and now just a college student, and his name is Jordan Thomas. So I look forward to having these gentlemen on up in the upcoming. So thank you so much for your time. Have a great and beautiful day, and make the rest of your week the best of your week. I'm out of here.